Greg, here's another incredibly beautiful passage. The poetry is just so beautiful. And we have this image of the fawn. What I wanted to ask you about here is the gust of wind that we see at around line 873. But the fawn like a gust of wind with the vigor of her swift running, da-da-da. What's going on here with this gust of wind?
Yes, so often in tragedy, and we've seen this more than once, the gust of wind is like a signal of some kind of divine intervention. And here you could say that the god Dionysus intervenes in civilization and, shall we say, gets us back into a frame of mind where there are no mortals to dominate nature and where nature simply asserts itself. And what a beautiful way to say it when at one point after the young deer escapes the hunters and finds itself in a beautiful green glade protected from any harm, that she delights in the green joys of Meadows. And I dedicate my comment to a former student of mine, Victor Bers, B-E-R-S, who was inspired to write an entire dissertation using this example as one of his starting points. It's a transferred epithet. Instead of saying the joys of dreams in a green meadow, you say green joys of a meadow. I'm paraphrasing, but the idea is that the joy and the greenness just fuse with each other, just as Dionysus does. And I think you're quite right to notice that cue, which is the gust of wind, which is announced so often at very important parts of narrative. And here in the overall narrative, this is where Dionysus really wins. And it's expressed in terms of an innocent deer that is hunted by predators and gets away from the human predators, the hunters, and is safe. And the joy of that safeness in nature, which is usually thought of as threatening, but here is welcoming and a source of salvation, is again what Dionysus is all about, fusing oppositions, not confusing, fusing.
So the deer is also coming back to its right place, its rightful place, right?
Yes.
Into the right environment, being received correctly by nature.
Yes.
How about this word sweet? Should we be thinking about that? That was a key word in another passage we discussed earlier.
I have a feeling that this is, again, may I put it this way, the sacrificial aftertaste. And it's a good aftertaste. It's feeling good about a sacrifice that's performed right. And right now, it seems as if the deer is not hunted down by the hunters, but you could say that it's simply part of a much longer narrative where it's not so much whether the deer gets hunted down, it's the whole process.